Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. This is Lydia Joy and I am stopping by live today to share some more holistic mineral balancing insights with you. For those of you who don't know me, I am a nutritional therapy practitioner and I've been working with HTMA in my personal practice for many years now, as well as teaching holistic mineral balancing to other practitioners. And this video today is going to be for you if you work with clients who have fatigue, energy loss, namely around adrenal fatigue or hypothyroidism. And you don't even need to know if they have those diagnosed. Generally speaking, we can wager a bet we're dealing with that. But if you are watching this video today and you are not a practitioner, stick around because I'm pretty sure you're going to learn something that will be valuable to you. So I work with women primarily, and one of the biggest markers that I see when I test, because I use hair tissue mineral analysis with all of my clients, is a low potassium. And I want to talk today a little bit about potassium and what it's related to so that you can also recognize it and support yourself or your clients with it, because it's huge. And I just had a client the other day who I've been working with for 2 years. She has been doing fantastic, moving the needle on her health, but we still are working more deeply to really bring her the robust health that she wants. So we have to constantly revisit her potassium intake, and the reminders help her a lot because every time she bumps up her potassium consumption, and this is like across the board with all my clients, which is why I'm talking about this today, because I feel like I can't say it enough. It's almost like the same as talking about how you have to drink water. It's one of those things I talk about till I'm blue in the face and then talk about some more. So that's why I'm bringing this to you. But it is a needle mover in terms of energy for most people because it's so imperative. It's so hard to get enough of. And it connects to a lot of common imbalances we all see and have in our client base. So I brought some notes with me, so bear with me. I'm going to get a tiny bit nerdy here today and a little bit technical, but I'm going to try to keep it really super laser focused and simple for you as well. So potassium is a crucial mineral that we don't hear a whole lot about, and most people think that if they eat a banana a day, they're fine. And that's just an oversimplification of, what it means to get potassium. So potassium actually has a really profound effect in the body, and I want to share a couple of things so that you can make some connections to how important it is. It has a profound effect on the functioning of the liver. It is absolutely critical for heart function, and we know heart disease is a biggie, right? It also plays a huge role in your nerve function and the integrity of your cells, cellular function. And it helps to regulate the transfer of nutrients into your cells. Think about that for 1 second. It's a pretty big deal. So if your goal is to help people with nutrients and you're a nutritional therapist like myself, this could move the needle and be really supportive for pretty much every client, right? It also helps to attract oxygen to the tissues. And it supports your muscular system. It increases tissue and blood alkalinity. It acts as a nerve tonic. So it's huge. It promotes good health overall across the board with those things in mind, right? It also helps to eliminate toxins. So I love potassium, and I could talk about it every day because it's helped me too personally, and it's helped so many of my clients. So I want to talk a little bit about what the symptoms of potassium deficiency are, so you can make even more connections for your clients or yourself, because I think this will help you connect to, if you're dealing with this, it's gonna trigger you to think, oh my gosh, this really does matter for me. Okay, so, and this will help too if you don't have a hair test in place. If you aren't working with hair tissue mineralosis just yet, knowing these symptoms, you can safely go and increase potassium in your diet. I'm not going to talk about supplementation today, but I will give you a list of foods in a minute, so stick around. So the signs and symptoms of potassium deficiency include, are you ready? They're pretty big. Number 1, fatigue. Who doesn't deal with fatigue from time to time, right? So because I've been doing this for a long time and I've been working with women primarily, the majority of women are in a slow oxidative state, which is a lower energy state. So it's pretty important for most of us, you guys. Another one is constipation, which is not something most people will talk about, but it's pretty common and pervasive. Many people struggle with it. Heart irregularities, low blood sugar, muscle weakness, water retention, low blood pressure, and allergies or histamine reactions. So those are some biggies. Now, to get a little bit more nerdy and technical, for those of you who are like the clinical speak, some of the conditions that are associated with a deeper potassium deficiency include adrenal insufficiency, hypothyroidism, hypoglycemia, poor digestion, acne, people who have issues with their heart, so certain types of hypertension, cardiac irregularity. Anyway, there's a lot more, and I don't want to make this too long, but you can see how these are some pretty common issues we face, collectively speaking, in our culture, and you'll see why in a minute it matters so much. So, because I'm going to tell you about the dose and the food. But basically, it's a pretty important mineral. I think all minerals are important, and it's hard to pick them apart, but for the sake of giving you some actionable information to take away with you today and maybe think about and maybe implement, I want to keep it simple for you. And because it's a mineral that I've used with hundreds of women to really make an instant impact in their day, I just want to share this with you, and I'll tell you how I do that in a minute. So I have a list of food sources of potassium. Now, from what I understand, the RDA, which you guys know how I feel about the RDA doses, right? The RDA is about 4,700 milligrams. Now that's a lot. 4,700 milligrams of potassium is quite a large amount. And most people connect bananas to potassium. And just for reference, one banana is somewhere in the 300 milligram range. So most people who think, oh, I eat bananas, I get my potassium, they're not getting, they're not going to get all their potassium from one banana. And think about how many they would have to eat to get 4,700 milligrams, right? So this is the common perception of most people. Now, there's a lot of ways you can get potassium, and if you are encouraging a real food, whole foods diet with lots of vegetables and variety, and you're really, good about getting that in on a daily basis, you could get plenty. It's not impossible. But when you're at a deficit already, which is the case for most people, as well as being in adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue or hypothyroidism, the body is going to have a harder time hanging on to potassium. So that 4,700 milligrams is a nice number and all, but it's not enough to help people really feel a ton of benefit immediately and hold on to it long term. So here's my list of foods. See, where did I put them? So if you're watching, hi Victoria, feel free to share what foods you use to get potassium in your diet. So coconut water is one of my favorites. If you're getting a good quality, the least processed, nothing added to coconut water, I know it can add up and be expensive, but when you're, fatigued and dehydrated and have hypoglycemia, this can be such a great, quick way to pull out of that. So if you have people who are struggling with fatigue and brain fog, and they're like telling you they have certain times of the day where it's worse, that's when you can recommend drinking some coconut water, because it can really quickly get into the body and just give them that lift they need in that moment. So I love coconut water for that reason. It's so much easier to get these days, and my clients have found it to be a really easy fix for them. Now, I know not everyone likes coconut water, so I'm going to give you a couple more. I like the fluids the best with potassium because it gets into the body more quickly and you can just benefit from it more quickly. So carrot juice is another one. So if any of your clients are juicing, even just a small amount can be helpful. Carrot juice is becoming a little easier to get. You just, again, you want the least processed, that kind of thing. And a little goes a long way. And I'm not super concerned about the carbs in it because most of these people need a little bit of carbs and that quick hit. That's a whole conversation for another time. I also really love nettles tea if it's made properly. This one really is a biggie. And then for protein sources, turkey, beef, cod, yogurt all have a fair amount. I like yogurt because it has a nice potassium sodium balance. And then there's a ton of veggies. So your greens, all your greens have a nice amount of potassium. This is another reason why it's great to eat your greens. Beet greens, Swiss chard, and kale and spinach. They are all great sources of potassium. Beet greens is the highest. I know most people don't even really like beet greens, but it's just, something to maybe encourage people to even try. Sweet potatoes, winter squash, carrots, cabbage, summer squash, and green beans. So you can see if you're eating a really good real food diet with a lot of vegetables and some good proteins, it's possible to get a fair amount of potassium in your daily diet. It may not add up to enough, and some clients will need a little bit of a supplemental amount of potassium while they are kind of digging into the deeper health picture and really trying to resolve it. But, while people are healing at a deeper level, this consumption of potassium is going to be so key, so huge. And if they're just reminded regularly, this little, thing of just adding a little bit more into your day can make such a huge difference for your energy. And who doesn't want to have better energy, right? Okay, so that's really all I wanted to go into today. I wanted to keep it as simple and laser as I could. There's definitely a lot more to the picture of potassium and why it can be low and all the other things that kind of balance with it. And this is why I absolutely 100% love the HTMA process and mineral balancing, because it can really give you so much deeper insight to all the moving parts of someone's biochemistry. And so make sure, I'm going to put a link in here for you guys if you're watching and you are interested in learning more just in general about mineral balancing. So you can check out our webinar as well as get our newsletter updates. And that's all I wanted to talk about today. So if you have questions, feel free to pop them below, and I will be back next Tuesday again around this time to share another live with you. And Jessica, my co-creator of the Holistic Mineral Balancing Program, will be here on Thursday to share another live video with you guys. And we would love to hear from you if these videos are helpful. If you like them, click like. Give us some feedback so we know better what to come back and continue to share with you. All right. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.